Hey everyone, I'm here at Sam Houston National Forest on the roof of my van right now, getting ready to install or attempt to install my MaxxAir fan. This is going to be a bit challenging for a few reasons, not the least of which the roof of my van is a fiberglass top, which is not as strong as metal, which most people have. So I have to get a little bit creative as far as creating some extra support for the fan to make sure the roof doesn't snap when I'm driving. There's also multiple layers of roof that I have to cut through. So this is 2 layers of fiberglass with some reinforcement in between the 2 layers. And then underneath that, there's insulation. And then underneath that, there's a layer of wood on the inside of the van. So I'm basically cutting through 3 layers. I'm also doing this with this handheld hacksaw blade because I'm out in the forest, and yes, I'm dispersed camping, but I don't think I should be out here making too much noise. I do have a jigsaw with me and I do have the ability to use it since I have a battery and a power inverter in my van, but I don't really think it's appropriate to be running very loud power tools out here in the forest. So I'm going to be doing it all with this little handheld thing right here. So I've already started a little bit. What I did was I just used a circular Forstner drill bit and I drilled 4 holes, 1 at each corner of this 14 by 14 square, which is where the fan is going to go into when I'm done. And I used those holes as starting points to stick the saw blade into so that this way I could cut around the square. You probably cannot see in here too well, but right underneath this first layer of fiberglass here, there's some reinforcement that's kind of like almost looks like corrugated cardboard, and underneath that there's another layer of fiberglass right there that I have to cut through when I'm done cutting this first square. Since fiberglass is relatively weak compared to metal, I'm gonna have to add some extra reinforcement. So what I did was I got these 1/4 inch thick by 4 inch wide poplar boards from Home Depot. And what I'm going to do is just cut those to size and make a rectangle that's going to go underneath the first layer of fiberglass. And then I'm going to drill the MaxxAir fan receiving flange into that. Which is going to make it a lot harder for the fiberglass to break and ultimately making this setup a lot stronger and more reliable. Okay, so I finally got the first layer of fiberglass off the top here. That was a lot harder than I expected because it's like glued onto what's underneath it, but I think this is going to be a little more difficult than I thought as far as that wooden frame goes, because take a look at this. So I don't know how well you can see here, but there's this honeycomb corrugated looking stuff right here, and then right where my finger is, there's like this little lip that runs across. So this goes down to that layer below. It's not horizontal like the rest, it's vertical. And this is very hard and difficult to break or cut through or anything like that. I was able to do it around the edges because I'm using the hacksaw blade, but the problem is going to be when I try and build that wooden frame that has to go underneath here, and it's going to extend like a few inches out like that. I don't know how I'm going to cut through that underneath here. So I guess I'm hoping or thinking that I might just do 2 planks for the wooden frame. I might be able to just do 1 on this side and 1 on this side, hopefully. And I don't even know if that's definitely going to work either. But it's better than nothing, so I think that's going to be my plan for right now. On second thought, I'm an idiot. Why would I put the reinforcement under the first layer when there's going to be stuff in the way, when I could probably just put it under the second layer where there's actually room? So I think I'll have to see how much room there is down there, but I think I might put that wood underneath the second layer of fiberglass. This way I have room to operate and I could put all 4 panels. But first, there are more important matters at hand. Hopefully I'm not cutting through any wiring inside the van or anything like that. This is really stupid the way that I'm doing it. It would be nice to see the bare inside of the van so that I know what I'm actually cutting through, but this van was already a converted van. Not in the sense of like VanLife converted, but it was a 90s conversion van. So it had, you know, lights and storage in the back and stuff like that. There was no way I was ripping that all apart just to get to the frame of the van. So it is what it is. If I cut through any wires, guess I'm losing some lights. What are you gonna do, you know? Hey, remember how I said I didn't look inside the van and didn't know where I was cutting or what I was cutting through? Look what I found. You see that? It's a big metal support beam. It's directly in the way of where the fan needs to go. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm doing now. I'm either gonna have to cut the hole bigger and extend it this way and then block off this part of the hole somehow and seal it off. That's probably what I'll end up doing. Or I'll have to cut the beam, which seems very stupid and not a good idea. So I think I'm just going to do the first option. But first, more beer. Okay, so I cut through the fiberglass. The receiving flange seems to fit in here. I'm gonna have to cover this off somehow and seal it with something, but I'll worry about that after I get this thing installed. And right now, I just need to cut through this bottom layer of wood here. And once I do that, I have direct access into the inside of the van. So that's the final layer. So I've cut 4 holes. I'm sure you probably can't see them too well in the camera here, but 1 in each corner, the same I did with the fiberglass. And I'm going to use those as starting points to cut the 4 edges. Okay, so I cut through the final layer of wood to get to the inside of the van. I now have access to the interior. Everything's cut, and I test fit the flange here. Seems to fit okay, and the fan slides inside of it. The installation is still not complete. I still need to put some butyl tape on the roof. Screw this into place. I still need to make the wood frame to go underneath the fiberglass. There's a few things that I still need to do basically, but the sun's starting to go down. I probably have like, I don't know, another 20 minutes left of sunlight. So rather than rush this whole process and try and finish the whole thing tonight and ruin it any worse than I already have, I think what I'm going to do is just seal this off with some tape for now, just so that no bugs go inside the van. I'm just going to leave the fan right where it is. I'm probably going to wire it up to the battery tonight and test it out, see if it works out. But I think that's going to be it for this part, and I'll just do a part 2 when I wrap up the installation tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe if you guys want to see the rest of the installation. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.